Happy day 10. Welcome to 321 No Kidding podcast. I am Bobbie the Awesome. And this is the Dry January series. And we are going to talk about how to cope with boredom today. Seems to be one of the biggest challenges is what do I do with my time? If I'm not sitting on a bar seat or going to meals and drinking, or maybe there was a point in my drinking career that I would intentionally get a bottle of wine and work on puzzles. And that just lit me up, right? Drinking my wine, working on puzzles, sitting on the floor. So how do we fill the gaps in time without making ourselves uh, anxious to drink or wanting to do activities that lead us to drink? So I guess the starting place would be to notice what are they use the word triggers. What are our cues that are going to lead us to drink? Is it the the route we drive home from work and the package store being on the way or the bar being on the way? Is it the circles of friends that we keep? Is it routine, just out of habit? Like I put the kids to bed, now it's happy hour. Whatever that looks like. So start with looking at that. And before you get to the situation that is triggering to your drinking process, get a plan in place before it even gets that way. Set a timer on your phone. Says, hey, I'm going to do XYZ. So that's the first part of this, right? You have to notice. So let's say you're not going to the local bar and hanging out with your friends. Like that was a big part of my tradition in drinking, at least in one of my location. Well, actually, now that I think about it, a lot of my social circles were around bars throughout the throughout the decades. Well, one of the things to do is if you don't feel comfortable inviting those people, like you probably have friends, you think they're your friends. If you don't feel comfortable inviting them onto something with like taking a walk together, or being an accountability buddy, or going to explore a museum, or take a new class, breath work or yoga, or uh, artsy kind of something. Here's a clue. If you go on Eventbrite or Meetup, there are groups of people like you. There's tons of them, actually. Like we're doing a murder mystery here at the store next week, an interactive, and it's set up in a way that people have to communicate with each other to solve the crime. Look for those kinds of things and you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh, and it doesn't all have to cost money. So if that's a fear, let's remove that right now. There's a group called Phoenix. If you're not familiar with the Phoenix, it's a nonprofit and they have CrossFit gyms in different locations, but they also have this huge volunteer community that hosts events in states and places near you. Or if you do think that 20-25 bucks a month is worth your access to everything from meetings to classes to community, you could join a group like Recovery Elevator. I know I'm always bragging about Paul and the community, but it's for very good reasons. They hold regional meetups. They have an app that's off Facebook, so it's not required to be on Facebook. The friendships that I've made by being in that community for 5 years are long lasting. Like I met a lady in 2020 on a sober travel trip, and she's physically been in the store 4 years later. Beautiful. And she lives like states away. There are millions of ways to meet new people. Maybe you're fortunate enough to live in an area where there is a store like mine. So I'm in Connecticut, but there's one in Canada in Vancouver that keeps getting a ton of access, a ton of um, press. So I see that she's doing very well and connecting with her community. Texas has a few. Cleveland. So there's a lot of different places like that. Then the Phoenix is also trying to put together, or are putting together this musical options. Have you always wanted to do comedy or do you write poems? Like, I'll tell you, so Blue October, is my favorite band. And one of the coolest parts of watching and a piece I didn't even know I had in me to tap into, quite honestly, was I've gone to this write your own song music retreat the last 2 years. Now, I've never aspired to write a song. I've never been into music. And because it's Justin and because of his recovery journey and how I watch him as like one of my mentors so that I could do better because I think he does better and he lives his best life and he sets the example of what I aspire to be: confident, humility, transparency, honesty, all the things. That's who those are the attributes I want to get from him. So I've been going to the music retreats and I wrote 2 songs and they're meaningful to me. It was a great way to get my feelings out. I learned about how he used music as a tool. And in the midst of it, I'm watching my peers, people who have been assaulted, abused, bad relationships, death, addiction, depression, so many things that these people have gone through. And music is their device to communicate and to get it out of their system and again fill up the boredom, right? If you are spending time writing music and getting some of that stuff, that ick that you have to process out of your system and filling time at the same time, like that's healing. That's like therapy in its own way. I'm always going to promote exploring your own neighborhood, no matter where you live, whatever state, country, wherever you live. You do not know it all. You do not know where all those hidden gems are. You do not know where every coffee shop or every trail or every cozy little bookstore is. Like, get to know your community. Get involved in your community. I have a half a dozen volunteers here. And it's not because I like posted, hey, I want to volunteer. One loves to read, so she runs the book club. Another couple loves to craft, so they run the craft club. Fellas that love to hike lead the hiking club. You see what happens there? You find your people and you find your activities to fill your boredom. And if you don't know what those are, explore. Like try. Do you want to try a new recipe? Even that, like, right, that you have to shop, you have to eat. Look up some recipes online. Try a new cookbook. Do the things, play with the ingredients. I'm not saying you have to go out and spend a shit ton of money. I'm telling you, you have to explore to fill the time. And there's many modalities. And honestly, and this one's going to sound big and scary, but sit by yourself. Like be alone in yourself. Alone time, whether it's in the car going for a ride, rolling up a yoga mat on your floor in the corner of a bedroom. I've done that too. And just having a conversation, well, or sitting still, but a conversation with yourself is where I was going with that. What do I need to know right now? What am I feeling? How does this body part feel? What's my emotion today? What did yesterday look like? Do I feel any better without the thing, whether it's drinking or gambling or whatever? Am I going stir crazy? What are my options? Just explore yourself, explore your journey. It's amazing to be by yourself. If you can figure out how to be by yourself and love yourself, like it's the greatest gift you could give yourself. All right. I love you, beautiful people. I will see you next time.